Hey everybody, today I want to talk about two Beatle releases that were released around the same time as the new Beatles box set, the Beatles 1964 US albums in mono, and I made a detailed video about that, giving my overall thoughts about it and all that kind of stuff. You can watch that right here. But these two releases were released, like I said, at the same time, around the same time. The first one is I Want to Hold Your Hand, I Saw Her Standing There. This is a Record Store Day exclusive single, and I'll show you that. And then the Target exclusive Meet the Beatles on blue opaque vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what you get with both of these pressings, tell you a little about the pressing quality, and give you my overall thoughts on the sound quality as well. So let's start with the I Want to Hold Your Hand, I Saw Her Standing There single. And I left the hype sticker on there. Now this was pressed by GZ Media, and you can see the sticker on the back here. It says Made in the Czech Republic. GZ Media, they recently put out, or pressed rather, the Beatles Revolver Deluxe Edition box set. And while GZ Media in the past has had some problems with quality control, my Revolver box set was totally fine as far as pressing quality. And the same goes for this as far as the quality of the actual pressing of this single. Totally flat, no skips, no distortion or anything like that. So I was really pleased with the pressing of this. Now, like I said, front and the back are basically the same, except the front has I Want to Hold Your Hand on top, and the back has I Saw Her Standing There on top. And the other notable thing to mention is that on some previous reissues of this single, you can see Paul right there. He's holding a cigarette. Some of the previous releases of this, they photoshopped that cigarette out of Paul's hand. Well, this is the unphotoshopped photo, thankfully. And this, of course, is how the original single was released in the US. This is how it would have looked. It's on very nice, sturdy cardboard, which is really nice to have, or rather, I guess it's not cardboard, or whatever this type of cardstock is, I guess is what you call it. Unfortunately, this did not come with an inner sleeve. The 45 was just in here without any type of sleeve. I have placed it in a poly-lined sleeve because I want to keep it nice. And it's pretty thick vinyl. I don't know if it's 180 gram, but it's definitely thicker than like the vintage 45s of the 1960s. And it's got the capital swirl. Let me get a little closer and see if it'll focus. There you go. It's got the capital swirl label, but it's quite different than the ones from the 1960s. The biggest difference, of course, is that instead of the big spindle hole, you get the small one there. And a lot of people I know were disappointed that this didn't have the bigger spindle hole, but it doesn't really matter to me. And like I said, the quality of the pressing itself is excellent. Totally flat, played wonderfully on my record player. And the sound is really good. It's that US Capitol sound that I talked about in my previous video. It's its own thing. It's really electric. And actually on this particular pressing, I think I Want to Hold Your Hand sounds better than it does on the Meet the Beatles from my box set that I talked about in the last video. There's just something, it just jumps out of the speakers more on this particular pressing. I Saw Her Standing There on the B-side is, for those of you who don't know, is it's a stereo fold down made into a mono mix for I Saw Her Standing There. And sometimes it's not really that noticeable, but sometimes it can be very noticeable when they do that. Like there are like some later Capitol albums that they did that with, where they took a stereo mix and made it into mono. Like Ticket to Ride is a good example from the US album Help, and it's a wild ride as far as the sound quality of that goes. But I Saw Her Standing I Saw Her Standing There on this sounds pretty good to me. I Want to Hold Your Hand, on the other hand, is a true mono mix of I Want to Hold Your Hand, and it sounds really good. Does it sound better than like I Want to Hold Your Hand on the Mono Masters album from the 2014 Mono box set? No, it doesn't. I think that one has just more clarity overall, but this is a lot of fun to listen to. And I didn't actually go to a record store to pick this up on record store day. With a baby now, it's much harder for me to wait in like a long line for record store day. So I actually ended up getting this on eBay from a record store that someone had mentioned had extra copies. It was a record store, I think in New Jersey or something, but I got it for a very fair price. I think it was $16 with $4 for shipping, so $20 altogether to get this, and I was very happy to pay that. Anyway, this single I think is great and totally worth picking up if you can find it. Okay, now on to the Target exclusive Meet the Beatles. Now, I was not going to pick this up. I am definitely a Beatle collector, but I am not like I don't care about the vinyl, the colored vinyl variations and all that kind of stuff. Like when McCartney 3 came out, you know, they put out just like endless variations of different colored vinyl, clear vinyl, all that kind of stuff. I bought the black vinyl and I was happy with that. The reason I picked this up is because I'm sure that those of you who watched my unboxing video of my Beatles 64 US mono albums, you probably saw that that box set had a lot of problems, so I had to send it back. And so I wanted to hear at least one of the albums as soon as I could. So my wife and I were at Target. I saw this. I just picked it up because I thought I'd like to listen to this right away while the other box is being shipped out to me, the replacement box. So I picked it up, took it home, and it had a big warp problem. So the record I got was like totally warped. It like made the needle jump. Super bummed. I then took it back to Target that very day and got this replacement one, and it plays fine, no problems whatsoever. And again, this was not pressed by GZ Media. This was pressed by a company called MPO, and they're in France. And I talked about this a lot on my previous video talking about the box set. MPO, they are known to have a lot of quality control problems. And if you watch my last video, you know that the first box set I had tons and tons of problems. Thankfully, like I said, this one I got, it doesn't have any problems. So that's good, good to know and good to have. This is the Target exclusive, and I kept the hype sticker and put it on the inside of here. And as you can see, it says, I don't know if you can see that or not, made in France. And it's on this opaque blue vinyl. Now, to me, this is just kind of a sky blue. It's not really, it's not really see-through. If I held up to a light, I guess you could see a little bit more of the, there you go. You can kind of see some of the marble swirls, I guess what you'd call it. But there is the front, and there is the back, or rather side 1 and side 2. And as far as the sound quality goes, the pressing quality, like I said, for this, the second one I got, it's fine. It's totally flat, plays great, no skips, anything like that. There is like the occasional intergroup distortion going on. I don't remember exactly what song. I listened to this like 2 times, this particular pressing. I think it was on like Hold Me Tight, but I kind of think Hold Me Tight it was just kind of mastered incorrectly way back in the day on the actual master tape. Hold Me Tight is by far the worst sounding song on this particular album, Meet the Beatles, and it's definitely in the top 5 of worst sounding songs in this box set. It's just, it's got its problems. But overall, it was a fun listening experience. It's that, you know, that unique capital US sound of these Beatles albums that they were trying to recapture for these new releases, and they definitely did it. So it's a fun listen. There's obviously, these are amazing Beatles songs, so you can't go wrong with that. But everything about this is exactly the same, other than the color of the vinyl, as far as from the other box set. So if you want to pick up, a lot of people have asked me actually, oh, if I don't want to get the box set, which albums should I pick up? Just the individual albums themselves. For me personally, I would definitely get Meet the Beatles. It's arguably the defining moment in the Beatles' US album releases. This is what broke them into America. This was a huge cultural event when this came out, and it's definitely fun to own, especially if you are not familiar with the US albums. So I would definitely recommend Meet the Beatles. And the other album I would recommend is the Beatles' second album. It sounds really good. It's really electric. It's a fun listen. So Meet the Beatles' second album, you really can't go wrong with those two, in my opinion. And then if I had to pick a third, I'd say Beatles 65, just because it's just, the songs are great. It's a cool cover, and yeah, just worth picking up, I think. So yeah, that's Meet the Beatles. And like I said, it's the exact same. You get the same inserts, the cool, you know, get the tape box reproduction, the little essays inside by Bruce Spicer. Everything's the exact same as the box set. So these are the two latest Beatle pickups that I've made, and I'm really glad I picked up the single, and I'm still pretty happy that I picked up this Meet the Beatles as well. So that's it for now. I'd love to know if you picked these up as well and what you think of them, and more Beatle videos to come, and more videos in general to come. So hope you're all doing well. Take care, and bye for now.